Historical context. The Massacre of Kondomari is a tragic event that unfolded during World War II on the island of Crete, where Cretan civilians paid a heavy price for their resistance against Nazi occupation. Objective of the story. This narrative aims to delve into the events surrounding the Massacre of Kondomari, highlighting the bravery of Cretan resistance fighters and the brutal retaliation by Nazi forces. Cretan resistance against Nazi occupation. Nazi invasion of Crete. In May 1941, Nazi Germany launched an airborne invasion of Crete, seeking to establish control over the strategically important island. Cretan resistance fighters. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Cretan resistance fighters, known as Andartes, mounted fierce opposition against the occupying forces. Guerrilla warfare. The Andartes employed guerrilla tactics, ambushing German patrols, sabotaging supply lines, and providing intelligence to Allied forces. Events leading to the massacre. German occupation policies. The German occupation authorities implemented harsh measures to suppress resistance, including reprisals against civilians suspected of aiding the Andartes. Ambush in Kondomari. On June 2, 1941, Cretan resistance fighters ambushed a German convoy near the village of Kondomari, inflicting casualties on the German troops. Retaliation threats. In response to the ambush, the German commander, General Kurt Student, ordered severe reprisals against the civilian population of Kondomari and surrounding villages. The Massacre of Kondomari unfolds. Night of Terror. On the night of June 23, 1941, German troops carried out a brutal reprisal operation in Kondomari, targeting innocent civilians in retaliation for the resistance attack. Village razed. German soldiers systematically went from house to house, rounding up villagers and executing them in cold blood. Homes were looted and set ablaze. Mass executions. Civilians, including women, children, and the elderly, were indiscriminately shot or killed with bayonets. The massacre spared no one. Eyewitness accounts and survivor testimonies. Survivor testimonies. Survivors of the Massacre of Kondomari recounted the horrors they witnessed, describing the brutality of the German troops and the devastation inflicted upon their community. Escape and hiding. Some villagers managed to escape or hide during the massacre, seeking refuge in nearby forests or hiding underground until the danger passed. Trauma and loss. The Massacre of Kondomari left a lasting trauma on the survivors, who lost family members, friends, and neighbors in the senseless violence. International reaction and aftermath. International outrage. News of the Massacre of Kondomari sparked outrage around the world, drawing attention to Nazi atrocities against civilians in occupied territories. War crimes investigations. Following World War II, German officers involved in the massacre were investigated for war crimes and faced trials for their actions. Rebuilding and healing. In the aftermath of the massacre, the village of Kondomari and surrounding areas began the slow process of rebuilding and healing from the trauma inflicted by the Nazi reprisals. Legacy and remembrance. Memorialization. Memorials and monuments were erected in Kondomari and other villages affected by the massacre to honor the memory of the victims and ensure that their sacrifice is never forgotten. Annual commemorations. Every year, the people of Crete gather to commemorate the victims of the Massacre of Kondomari, reaffirming their commitment to peace and remembrance. Lessons learned. The Massacre of Kondomari serves as a reminder of the brutality of war and the importance of resisting oppression, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Reflections on courage and resistance. Cretan courage. The bravery of Cretan resistance fighters and the resilience of the villagers of Kondomari exemplify the spirit of resistance against tyranny and oppression. Subscribe for more untold stories. Subscribe to our channel for additional episodes uncovering hidden narratives from World War II and the courage of those who stood up against injustice. Join us in exploring untold stories that shaped the course of history and inspire us to never forget the sacrifices of the past.